Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is Robert, and yeah, as you can already see in the corner right here, we have our lovely returning guest on her, yeah,
Three.
however, three or four, however, yeah,
We
three.
lose
Let's just say
track.
three. Yeah, three. This is Kelly Ohanian joining me once again. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I've just been really, it's been quite a time, 2025 being 2025, just a lot of, voiceover stuff, just a lot of, events that have happened this year, but overall, I'm just still trekking through, just once again surviving the heat. So it's all good.
Oh,
All good, man.
I know. I feel like every time we talk, we're going through some sort of weird, crazy, never before seen heat wave.
I know, yeah, it's just insanity, man.
Just
But
gets
yeah,
worse.
I know, yeah. So I guess to, really kick off the conversation, just share with us a little bit about, how this year's going, like any big highlights or just stuff that you want to share, talk about. Just start off with a bit of that icebreaker, how we roll here.
Sure. Yeah, 2025's been good. It's been a very up and down year, I think, for many, many reasons. One amazing thing that I think we haven't gotten a chance to talk about yet since the last time we spoke is that the video game strike is over, which is so, so nice. We've reached an agreement. So that's definitely been a highlight for this year. Other than that, I've been working pretty steadily on the Disney Junior show I'm on, Spidey and His Amazing Friends. It just got renewed for two more seasons, which is so fantastic. So I've just been having such a good time doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why it just will not unmute sometimes. But yeah, I'm just really
Oh,
happy.
Zoom.
Yeah, good old Zoom. But yeah, I'm just really happy because I know we talked about Spidey and, some video game stuff. And I'm just actually really glad that the strike is over because we'll probably get to talk a little bit more about that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
really.
yeah, for sure. But other than that, just life, just how's that going along? Just
Life's okay. Life's been pretty calm and quiet lately, which is exactly the way I like it. I'm a very steady as and non-crazy as I can get, the better.
yeah, for sure. I mean, we all kind of need that in our lives, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess yeah, because I know there's still a couple of stuff that we can discuss, but yeah, I know it's probably just gonna be like another chill type of, we just vibe
I
and
love
just going
that.
with yeah, just
Yeah.
going with the flow. So let's just get right on to it. So, alrighty, let's see. I guess out of all of the projects that you've worked on since we kind of had our last talk, because I know you mentioned Spidey, what
Yeah.
would you say was the most exciting for you, or just something that was just so fulfilling and challenging in a way, just something that you love that's something that really started to, I guess, when you work on a project, did it like help you grow? Like, did it present itself with challenges that you kind of felt, that kind of excited you, just share with us because as artists, we all love to challenge ourselves and grow like every single day, no matter how
Definitely.
it
Oh,
is.
for sure. It's always such a cool thing when you get to play a character that challenges you or teaches you something that you didn't know about yourself or the world. I think like in terms of creatively fulfilling or challenging, I guess. I was in a video game. I think it came out a couple years ago. I think it was 2023, maybe. I was in a survival horror game called Alone in the Dark, and it was a remake of an old game that came out, I think, in like the 90s. And the character I played, her name is Ruth, and she's a patient at like a psych ward type place. But that I thought she was a challenging character. She has a lot of like nuance to her, and everything she says, you don't really know if she's telling the truth or not. Like she's the kind of character that carries a lot of secrets and she keeps a lot of things hidden. So I thought that was a really cool challenge to play a character that had like so many layers to even the most simplest lines that she would say. That was also really fun to do because that was the first video game where I got to do facial capture, which I had never done before. And when you're recording facial capture, they are really in tune with all the expressions that your face is making, obviously. So when we were recording the lines, I got to actually like read the scene off of my director, which is not common in voiceover. Usually you're just saying your lines one off and you don't really have like a scene partner the way you do in like live theater. So actually having a actually having a background in live theater, that was such a treat for me to actually be able to like have a scene partner to play off of.
Yeah, and how would you say that it was? Because having a scene partner and doing the live theater like that, or just really doing theater in general, since we're kind of just on the kind of just harboning over, like just kind of still just floating around on this topic.
Mhm.
I wanted to know what was something that, when you were doing the part that you've learned, like what was something new that you kind of learned from doing it, and with the experience that you had doing theater in general, what would you say was something that you really, that just kind of stood out to you that, you still carry with you, and it just also kind of left like, a big impact on you in a way?
Yeah, for that role in particular, I think I had been doing voiceover for so long at that point that the theater world was kind of getting further and further away from me. And like I said before, in normal voiceover, when you're recording your lines, you're just saying your line and then moving on to the next one. You're not like doing a scene. So I think the thing that I learned or relearned rather is how important it is to like listen because that's what's going to get the best response. And even if you are in a recording situation where you don't have a reader, um, sometimes it's helpful to just like say the line that comes before yours, just like in your head to yourself, so that you have something to react to. I think sometimes it's easy to forget that part in voiceover because we don't usually have lines coming before the lines that we say.
Yeah, because I know with a lot of memorizing scenes and everything, it could be like, okay, so this is my motivation and blah 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 blah, but then something else comes along and it's like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, that shook things up. Yeah.
Exactly, man. I mean, it just happens way too often.
It totally does. Well, and also what you just said about memorizing scenes. When I was doing theater consistently, I was so quick at memorizing scenes. Like when I'd get a script, I'd be off book like the next day. I was so good at memorizing lines because I was doing it all the time. And in voiceover, because things change so much and sometimes we don't get a script ahead of time, you never have to memorize your lines. You always have it right in front of you. And I think that also threw me for a loop because they wanted us for facial capture to be off book as possible so that our eyes weren't like looking down at a script or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, you mean I have to like memorize things again? I got so spoiled having a script in front of my face all the time. So having to like exercise that part of my brain again after so long was such a trip.
Right on. So, for voiceover, what is something that you really love or cherish? So, just something that really connects you on such a personal level after being and doing acting for such a long time?
I think if we're talking about voiceover specifically, um, I think there's such a wider range of characters that you're able to play or even just like audition for. Um, Coming from on-camera acting or theater acting, they talk a lot about like your character type, which has to do a lot with like how tall you are, what color hair you have, or, such like physical things that matter because those things are like visual medias. Um, but I think it's cool that in voiceover, like, as long as you can embody the character and give them a voice and a point of view, there really aren't many limits. And that's so fun for an actor, to just be able to play and experiment. And I think it's actually opened my eyes to a lot of different kinds of characters that I am able to play that I always thought I couldn't because of the way I look. Like Spidey was so crazy because I play a villain on the show and I've never played a villain in my life. I look I have a very like young, wholesome look to me. So I always got cast in theater as like the girl next door or the ingenue and stuff, which is great, but it was so fun to just like maniacally laugh and and be evil and sneaky and all the things that I wasn't able to do in theater.
Yep, I know. And I know that as you were talking, I just really think back to what was it? Because in theater, like you're super expressive, like you're literally moving your entire body around, but for
Yeah.
voiceover, it's really just your voice, and you got to make sure that it doesn't pick up your feet moving and
I
just
know, or just general flailing. I
yeah.
noticed that I have taken a lot of my physical gestures from my time in theater in my voiceover stuff. So I have to be very careful sometimes because I'll be like stomping my feet or just one time in a Spidey session, I flailed my arms for whatever reason and I knocked over my entire water bottle, like the entire little desk that was next to me, like everything just fell over. But later I found out that like for some reason the mic didn't pick that up at all and they were like, "Okay, great. On to the next." Meanwhile, there's like water everywhere, total destruction.
That is so funny.
Don't do that. Careful with your hands, people.
Yeah, just lesson learned. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll just do it like this from now on.
Alrighty. Yeah. And what would you say is something that has been really keeping you just, that just keeps you going, just keeps the creative blood flowing, just that really keeps you on your, just at least keeping your head above water,
Yeah,
with this year
for
period.
sure. I know this is cliche and cheesy, but just auditioning, like getting the chance to audition for things. Now that the strike is over, you can kind of audition for things, anything you want. You don't have to worry about contracts and things like that. So it's been nice to just every audition is an opportunity to pretend to be that character, regardless of whether or not you actually book it for real. Um, and the odds of booking something are it's really challenging. So sometimes you can go into it with the mindset of like, I'm just gonna try. It's no pressure. We'll see what happens. And I think just getting to consistently audition for things and experiment and try new characters and sometimes I like to try auditioning for things that I think I'm maybe wrong for because you never know what they're looking for. And it's fun to just experiment with new character types and things like that. So just being able to audition every day and flex your muscles.
Yeah, that's a pretty good lesson to know. Like, if you wanted to, get into acting, that's kind of something that's we kind of tend to think about because it's like, oh, what is something that we could do to expand our voice? I mean, it's not really voices, like something that like anything, whether it's a gesture or just learning something new about acting, technique,
Yeah,
just anything like that. Just broaden your range, as I always
totally.
say.
I think there's a really good exercise to do that I know I've seen like a lot of people on social media do and things like that, but it really is helpful is like taking a line either from like a movie or a book or a show or whatever, just like any line and like saying it with different intentions. So like one time say it angry, one time say it excited, one time say it frustrated or like the same line just with different intentions. And I think if you're someone who like, wants to just like practice voiceover every day, that's a really good exercise to do.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of great books and resources. Like a lot of great what am I trying to say? Like there's some free stuff that you could look into online. You can look at D. Bradley Baker's website, I want to be a voice actor.com. There's
Mm.
also yeah, just way like the Yuri and Tara book, like voiceover actor that I have.
I just read that recently, actually, for the first
Oh, you
time.
did? Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was,
How'd you like it? Yeah.
I loved it. It was really good. There was so much good information in there. Definitely recommend that if anyone out there is
Yeah.
looking to get their feet wet.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different podcasts that I would probably link in the description whenever this goes up. So, yeah, there's some free resources for you.
Yeah.
I know these are also like, I'm not saying that this is cheap, y'all. Like, this is definitely a big investment, but hey, if you love it, more power to you.
Exactly. Yeah, it definitely takes that time and energy and a little bit of money, sometimes a lot of bit of money.
No, it's a lot of money. So, if you were to think back to something that really reminded you why you love acting, just performing in general, what would you say? What would be that moment in your life where you're just like, man, I just love doing this. I love it.
I think there are so many, but I think the one that stands out in semi-recent memory is um, when Bridget's character from Guilty Gear was announced. Everyone was so excited, and there was so much hype around her character, and she's such a special, unique character for so many reasons. And I think that was the first experience I ever had with being able to play a role that had such a big impact on so many people, and going to conventions and like meeting people in person who are fans of her character and everything, just seeing how much her story and everything meant to people. That's like literally why we do this, you know? It's so cool to be able to portray characters or tell stories that live so deeply in people's hearts and mean so much to them. Um, and maybe make them feel a little more understood or a little more seen. Um, I think that was such a special experience. I'm totally aware that that may never happen in my life again because it was so special. It's like one of those once in a lifetime career opportunities to be able to play a character that special. So I would just say Bridget, her entire existence is probably that moment for me.
Yeah, and I know I've talked about Bridget in, the past couple of discussions that we had, like, previous interviews, but I know that it definitely, the Guilty Gear game has definitely kind of, it has its own following and there is a large fan base for it now. So does it still like kind of amaze you or just shock you in a way that there's so much Bridget love or just people that are just standing Bridget as best girl in this house?
Yes. No, literally, it blows my mind. And even like today, like her character came out what, like 3 years ago or something. So like in like video game release time, that's a long time. Like a lot has happened with the game since then, but people still love her so much and are excited about her. And I see people like going to conventions and cosplaying her, which is so cool. I truly was not expecting that. I remember going into the first recording session for her and like I had no idea what it meant, what it was going to become. Literally, it was like just another job for me. I knew the game. I knew that people knew the game, but I didn't realize the extent of it until after. So that was so mind-blowing.
Yeah. And honestly, just getting to do these interviews or just doing conventions and everything is just still something that you're just like, wow, you're just blown away about.
I, I can't believe it. I truly can't believe it. It's wild.
Yeah. So when you were voicing Bridget. Like, I know that was kind of like the role that kind of started getting your name out there in a way, sort of. But I also kind of wanted to ask, like, just recording for the game. Like, would you say that it was something that really means, like, just getting to be a part of Guilty Gear in general was like, yeah, it's just still one of those moments where you're just like, wow, I can't believe I actually did that. Yeah.
It really was. I think I remember long before I even auditioned for Bridget, when Guilty Gear Strive first came out, I was taking a voiceover class, and Evan Michael Lee, who voices Nagoriyuki in Guilty Gear, was in the class with me. And Guilty Gear had just been released. Everyone was so hype about it, and I'm honestly not big into the fighting game world, so I that was the first time I had heard of it because at the beginning of class, he was talking about the game and how exciting it was to be a part of it and stuff. And I was intrigued because it sounded really cool. And I remember after the class, Googling Guilty Gear Strive and just like reading little blurbs about it and seeing clips about it and stuff, and was like, oh, that looks really cool. Like, good for him. That's such a cool game to be a part of and stuff. And then went on with my life. And then maybe like a year later, maybe less. I don't know. Time is weird. But at some point after, I got the audition for Bridget and saw that it was Guilty Gear Strive. And I was like, oh, that's that game that I was thinking was so cool. But again, still didn't realize her specific character, how important she was to the community. So that to this day is the big surprise of it. I knew the game was cool, but Bridget specifically, I had no idea what was coming.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it just led to, a lot of different stuff like Streamily and the some of the work that you've also been doing. So, yeah, would you say that going to, and I think we may have discussed conventions last time, but your overall convention experience, because I think you just recently went back to the
Anifest.
Anifest. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Like this year. So, just convention experience. Let's talk about it.
I love going to conventions. I remember the first one I did was Anifest in 2023, I believe, or maybe 2022, somewhere around there. And the other voice actors who were there as guests had done conventions before, and I remember them being like, you're gonna become obsessed with this. Like after your first one, you're gonna want to do more and more and more. And they were 100% right. I had the best time. I say this all the time, but like voiceover can be such an isolating activity because we do record solo most of the time. And a lot of times we don't even get to meet our castmates that are in the show or the game with us. So sometimes it can feel a little, like you're adrift in this big voiceover sea. So conventions really are the one of the only times that we get to A, meet other voice actors and B, meet people who are fans of the game and the characters that we play. Um, so it's kind of cool to get that feedback, and actually in real life, in front of your face, see people getting excited about your character or the game you're in. And um, I just love talking to the people who are so passionate about the game. I love when people love things so deeply and just getting to see people's excitement and all that stuff and making the artists that go to conventions and sell merchandise of games that they love and things like that. There's just so much love and passion that goes into conventions. So it's one of my favorite things to do, honestly.
Yeah, I could safely say from my personal convention experiences, because I've never went as a guest, but just as an attendee. But I mean, no, I take it back because I was going there for like business and type of stuff, but
Oh yeah.
also just checking out a lot of this stuff too. So, what was the recent one that I just went to? Okay, it was NostalgiaCon. It was
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't go, but I heard that I knew a lot of people who did, and I heard it was a blast.
Oh my dude, it really was. And I've done a lot of different cons over the years, but I think with this one, I would say this is probably my favorite one. I mean, it came during
Really?
a really rough time in my life, so getting to meet people like Tom Kenny, Rob Paulson,
Mm.
just literally just
Legends.
any voice acting, just if you're like a big nerd like I am, like that these people are like the cream of the crop for a reason, and just getting to meet
Yeah.
them like at the same time is just wild to me.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Also, the guest list is was
Really? Who
insane.
else was there?
Like people like if you watch Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, this was pretty much for the 90s, 2000s kids. Like I'm talking Drake and Josh, even the
Oh,
recent ones like, The Boys, just oh my God, just so
so great. Oh, that's
oh my
my
God, your
jam.
reaction.
That's my jam.
I
90s, early
know.
2000s cartoons. Oh, that's
Yeah, literally the who's who.
everything.
Like, and I know that Avatar, it's now in its 20th anniversary, which is nuts to me. And
Oh my
yeah, 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 yes, yeah,
20 years?
yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Every single time I think about it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, Avatar, it came out in 2005. It's 20. Wow.
That's
Literally 20.
crazy. 20 years, 2 decades.
I
That's
know.
nuts.
Dude, I remember watching like the first episode as like a sneak peek
Me
when
too. I remember being so hyped for that show. God.
yeah, and then oh my God, yeah, this was right around the time that I was watching SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents of those shows, and
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? So I didn't
Yeah.
really, yeah, I was like, oh, it's too serious for my liking. Ah, next. And then I was like, and then about a few years later, I'm like, oh, okay, I think the show is pretty neat. And then you get to like season 2 and 3, and it's like, oh, it is peak.
Yeah. I think that's what was so appealing about it was at the time Nickelodeon didn't have any other shows like that. It which is so cool. And I remember for me personally at that point in my life I was my sister and I grew up playing Final Fantasy games. And so those were like huge, major, impactful games in my life. And I remember when I saw like all the previews and stuff for Avatar, I remember thinking like, "Oh my God, it's like a Final Fantasy game. It's like Nickelodeon plus Final Fantasy, worlds colliding," which was like my entire life at that time was Nickelodeon and Final Fantasy. So it was so cool.
Yeah, but just going back to the nostalgia, it was like, man, I really would have loved to have gone the whole weekend, but like I said, something happened. I don't want to get into it, and we
Yeah,
just only went one day. Yeah, life happens. So I
for
was
sure.
just glad I was able to go for just those hours. But I think I'm sort of because like my parents, like really my mom, just kind of decided, you know what? Since my birthday is coming up, I decided we're just gonna do LA Comic Con for just the entire weekend, just to make up for,
Fun.
having. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. So that's my con, probably my last convention that I'm gonna be doing this year. But
Okay.
and I'm gonna celebrate it in a big way. So looky there.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a big one to end on. Comic Con's huge.
Yeah, I mean like San Diego is like, whew, boy,
Yeah,
good
that's
luck.
the big one. But LA Comic Con is
Yeah, it's
so
pretty.
too.
Yeah, and I'm just glad we got the early bird stuff. So hey,
Oh, tight. That'll be so fun.
yeah. So that's what I'm gonna be doing just to close out, to celebrate my 26th birthday.
Ooh.
So
Wait,
yeah,
when's your birthday?
the 25th
My
September.
birthday is September 4th. Are we
Let's
September
go.
13th?
Yeah, I guess we're September twins. Let's go. Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be doing then. So that's my, I guess,
Awesome.
plug.
Yeah, really. Come to LA Comic Con.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty lit.
I bet.
So yeah, I think you probably talked about how you got into acting, but what would you say was the moment that you decided you wanted to start doing all of this? Just as a refresher.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about this the other day, and I can't remember exactly what was like the moment that made me go, I got to start getting into this. Because it was just sort of like a gradual, like my sister, my older sister, works in video games and has for a very long time. She's a video game producer and has worked for tons and tons of big video game companies. And I think she was the one who initially was like, you're an actor, you love video games. I work with video game voice actors all the time. Like you should take some classes and see if you like it. Um, and I remember the first classes I ever took were with Kalmanson and Kalmanson, which is a great like commercial casting agency in Burbank. And they offer classes that are very good, highly recommend. Um, and I remember liking it a lot, but I came directly from theater, and sometimes I think commercials there is such a specific art to them. I have not mastered it yet, but I'm hoping to one day. But I think I was really yearning for more character work because that's what I was used to in the theater world. So I took the classes. I loved them. I learned a lot, but I remember coming away from them being like, I don't know if I'm like fully committed to this life yet. And then my sister knew a casting director in the video game specific world. Her name is Chris Zimmerman Salter, and she's done a lot of huge video games that everyone has probably heard of before. But she every now and then offers classes as well. And so I signed up for hers, and it was definitely more like animation, video game centric. And I just had like the best time. I remember coming away from that class being like, oh, I get it now. And she's actually the one who ended up putting me in touch with my agent, my current agent, Arlene Thornton, and yeah, the rest is history, I guess. The class that changed my life.
Yeah, and you talked about Evan Michael Lee. Love him. Just
Mhm.
great, great guy. So what would you say were, because you mentioned Chris Zimmerman, so Zimmerman, yeah,
Yeah,
that's her name. And so who else would you say have left a really big impact on you? And also name some of the shows, games, and since we're kind of on the pop culture nerd talk now, like just share the people and also the stuff that you say was a very big impact,
for
influential
sure.
way. Yeah.
I think in terms of people, Chris obviously for sure is up there for me because I give her all the credit for helping me get started and being a bit of a mentor in a way starting out. She introduced me to my agent. She booked me for my very first professional voiceover job. So she was a wonderful person to meet and know. She still is. She's amazing. Um, Maria Estrada is another casting director and voice director in the like animation world. She does a whole bunch of um, preschool shows that I'm sure people have heard of, and she was the first voice director and casting director for Spidey. And when I did that audition, it was actually in person. The audition was in person, which is unheard of. Like that never happens.
I miss in-person stuff.
I
Remember
do
the days where you get to
too.
walk?
Man,
Yeah.
it's just a different vibe. It's such a different vibe when you can see the person's face and actually have a conversation with them. And I don't know. Yeah, I miss it too. But yeah, that audition was in person. And I remember it was at my agent's office. They called me in to come audition, and Maria was there, and she was so kind and so warm and so fun to work with. She gave me some direction in the booth and stuff like that. And um we had a little just quick chit chat afterwards and stuff, and then I went on my merry way. But I mean, at that point, I had very, very little voiceover experience. So, I mean, what an awesome thing to take a chance on a young voiceover actor who's just getting started for such a big project like Spidey. So she was definitely a big part of me getting started. Um, let's see. The Final Fantasy series, as I mentioned before, was hugely influential on me. Um, all the cartoons growing up, like you said, SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Rugrats, Rocket Power, like literally all those Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. I was obsessed with those shows. And I think they all just contributed to one day me wanting to do voiceover.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the same because I wanted to go into animation, but I figured that I am kind of in animation, just providing voices for other people. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so there, that's a little bit of a consolidation, but yeah, just all of the shows that we were talking about. I think I mentioned in another interview, like, I mean, I just mentioned Avatar, Batman, the animated series is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just wanted to give my respect to Kevin Conroy. Just, Godspeed, man. And also Mark Hamill. I mean, come on.
Uh, icon, legend.
Yeah. And I'm starting to rewatch Gravity Falls and some other
Oh,
shows. Yeah.
you know
Yeah, like,
what? I've never watched Gravity Falls. I know that's like insane. And I have such a weird relationship with with like TV series. I have such a hard time like sitting down and watching it beginning to end. But that's one of the ones that I've heard from so many people like I have to power through. I have to watch that one.
yeah. I mean, like, hey, for my little series, if you kind of like the mystery Scooby-Doo-esque kind of, vibe, I think Gravity Falls might be for you. And also what I'm doing right now is kind of directly inspired by Gravity Falls.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've definitely talked a little bit about that and just probably in the next part because I think timer's almost up. But anyways, yeah. So a lot of the shows, like it's really nice that we have stuff that we can watch. And that's also another thing too, where I just wanted to say to people out there that want to do this, just remember when I was talking about just broadening, just flexing your range and muscles in a way, like just feel free to step outside of your comfort zone and check out stuff that is not even animation. Like, it could be live action. Radio is also a good one. Like, Yuri and Tara also talked about it in their book. Like, just take influence from anything. And also, um, as Crispin would talk about on his podcast, like, there's a great phrase where good actors borrow, but great actors steal from the best,
Ooh,
which
I
is
like that.
kind of
I like
true
that.
because literally a lot of the characters we do, we kind of take a little bit and also just add a little bit of ourselves to it. But hey, if you were to do like a bad impersonation of Chris Rock, then you're already on the right track.
Exactly.
So just hire me, but for less, a lot less money. It's cheaper, you know. Just saying.
Exactly.
Okay, I guess we'll just conclude this in the next part
All
here.
right,
Let me do
cool.
this real quick. But yeah, if you enjoyed this so far, definitely do the YouTube like, comment, subscribe thing, and I'll see you in the finale. So take care, and I'll see you in a little bit. Peace. Alrighty, so we rambled about a lot of different stuff. Let me see, what else can we discuss here?
Oh, what you were saying before, right before we ended about like taking inspiration from other characters and
Oh,
stuff
yes,
like
yes,
that.
yes. Yeah.
I mean, what's so cool about that though is like even if you are doing an impression of another character or something like that, everyone's going to do it differently. You know, like you and I doing an impression of the same character are going to be two completely different takes. And I think that's what's so cool about acting in general, voice acting specifically, is that like no two versions of a thing are going to be the same. Everyone's got their own style and their own inflection and their own life experience to bring to something that's going to make it totally different. So I just think that's one of the cool things about even if you're doing an impression of something, it's going to be different because you're you, you know?
Exactly. So I did mention favorite, roles that you've done, and I can also apply. But I don't think I've asked you like because you mentioned that Bridget and Doc from Spidey are just some of the top ones. Actually, since you did mention Chris, did you work with her when you did the Close Enough series?
I did. Yeah, that
Yeah, I
was
was about to say, yeah, because you
uh-huh.
directed it. Yeah.
She did. She brought me on for that. That was my first ever professional voiceover job.
Wow.
Um, yeah, first time in a studio, first time anything. And you know what's cool? That was a group recording. I
Yes.
know, which is like such a like magic lost magical unicorn at this point because like
God.
nobody ever does that anymore. And I think that being my first experience spoiled me for sure because, I since then have never done a group record. Um, but it was really cool, especially for someone like me who didn't know anyone in the industry or hardly anyone in the industry. Getting to meet my other castmates and stuff was so much fun.
Yeah. So I forgot to mention this earlier, but regular show is another one that is just in my top, yeah, just
Yeah,
personal favorite. So did you get to work with JG? Like get to meet him?
I did. He was there for both of my sessions for that show. Um, and he was just such a nice guy. Like you could tell that like he had so much passion for what he was doing. And like every time an actor would do a take, I'd see him back in the booth being like, yeah, he would be so excited about everything we were doing and stuff. And it was so cool to work with someone like that who's clearly so into what he's creating. Um, he was a blast. I loved working with him.
Yeah. And it's really cool because when you listen to Mordecai and then listen to the main character he does on Close Enough, I forgot his name. But you could tell that it's just the same dude, but they're just totally different characters acting,
Yeah,
y'all.
acting, y'all. Totally. And I think that's such a good representation of like, if you're someone who doesn't do a lot of silly voices or things like that. I mean, you can still have an incredible long career in voiceover because it's really not about that. I mean, it's the acting. It's the subtleties and the nuance that you bring to a character. Like you don't need to completely chameleon change your voice, in order to be a successful actor. It's just being real.
Yeah, and the best part about it is just it's literally just JG. It's really just his regular voice, but they still feel like different characters, which
Yeah.
you can do that. I mean, a lot of because it's like I was saying, it's oh, I could do this voice and then just chameleon myself. Well, you can, but there's also like, you can't because once again, going back to the voiceover voice actor book, like if you listen to Yuri Lowenthal or Tara Platt, most of the stuff that they book, it's just really just their regular voices. Like
Yeah.
about a good 70, 80, I don't know how much percentage, but 90%, 99% of the time you're just gonna book with your regular voice. I mean, specifically if you're doing commercials or, promo narration and stuff like that, and even in animation and video games, like you can't go it goes a long way with what you can do with just, your natural just speaking with your these
Totally.
vocal tones. Yeah, you
And
know what I mean?
but it's so unfair though, because it's like, I don't think I've met anyone who enjoys the sound of their own voice. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just like a
Yeah.
normal human thing. We don't like the sound of our own voices for some reason. So I think that can be a hard habit to break. I think sometimes, even now, I catch myself, my instinct is to like change my voice a little bit for a character. And then I have to rein it in and be like, you know what? That doesn't really make sense. Like, there's no reason why I need to do that. Let me try a take with my normal voice. And even if you cringe and even if it's hard to listen to, it's usually going to be the one.
I mean, a lot of the most fun roles, excuse me, that I ever did was like, I just decided, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna read this just normally, but I'm probably gonna do something that is like, okay, it's kind of a little off the wall, kind of crazy and goofy or whatever. And believe it or not, those are the stuff that I end up booking
Yeah.
because I kind of learned something from Bob Bergen where, the script is a skeleton, but you as an actor, you're giving it life. And then, I just played.
Yeah.
just play pretending, just doing the Richard Horvitz, thing where I just played and I just decided, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do like a take that I'm gonna laugh at, that I'm gonna find to be really fun. And then sure enough, that's most of the time those are the ones that end up booking. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, even if it is the wrong take, like a lot of us have done,
Right.
takes that are just kind of wrong. Let's just say that, or just the what do I call it? The giggles. I don't want to say it on the show, but like the what's the good substitute? The shies giggle. Yeah, that type of take. I like
For
to call them the
sure.
giggly type of take, and those are the ones that are like, okay, they don't really fit the character, but they do. They kind of might keep it on file because they
Yeah.
may, you never know what is going to be used for it later down the line, which is what happens a lot when you watch like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network because
Oh,
like
yeah.
you hear so many stories of just actors goofing around in the booth and then they would just literally make a character based on what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it happens
that's
all the time. Yeah,
That's like the secret sauce. It's like what we were
yeah,
saying before about the impressions. Like everyone has their own version of something. Everyone is their own person. Everyone is going to be able to bring something that nobody else on the planet can bring.
yeah,
And that's what people want to hire, They want to hire that specific little thing that your voice does or the inflection that you have or just the humor that you bring to something. It's so specific to each individual person and that's the cool part about it.
yeah. I think a good example of what of just doing something, just bringing something new to the table that they just decided, okay, you know what? Let's just do an entire series based on this. I think one example that comes to mind was Johnny Bravo. Jeff Bennett just did his
Love that
Elvis,
show.
hey, little mama, hey, hey. So he just kind of did that Elvis, and it just fits the character so much that
Yeah.
that's literally his character now.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know how it came to be, but I think he was always supposed to be Elvis, and then just Jeff just literally did so much more to it that, you know, th- that's how Johnny Bravo came to be. So you just never
Exactly.
know. Yeah,
And that's what's so fun about animation. There's so much play. There's so
yeah.
like you can never go too big. It's just
Mm.
like whatever wacky choice pops into your brain, like try it. It might not work, but it'll at least, make people laugh.
I mean, like literally, I did like a Chris. I don't know if it was Chris Rock or Chris Tucker in an audition, and that just won the director over. Like, just the silly,
Exactly.
dumb little thing that I did. And the same thing happened because I can't talk about this too. So it was like this little Halloween radio play that I was in,
Oh,
which
cool.
as somebody who loves radio plays and just fun little Halloween stuff, that was kind of like a dream come true to me. So
Yeah.
I played this. I think it was a boogeyman or somebody. I don't
Uh-huh.
remember, but so here's what I basically did. I combined two voices. So the first was Courage the Cowardly Dog, and then the second was okay, the Mad Hatter. I forget the actor's name. Like, okay, it was Edwin. Like, if you watch like Alice in Wonderland, like, oh,
Oh,
hi, I'm the Mad Hatter, and then you combine courage. So this is kind of the voice that I did for that character, just kind of a little bit of courage, but also kind of like Edwin if he was like really, really, really on, just on 100 pixie sticks or something. So
right.
that's kind of what I did for that character, and that
That's so
is
fun.
still one of my favorite ones. I just listen to it and I'm like, oh my God, yep, I made the right choice.
That's
I knew this.
amazing. I
Yeah.
love when we're able to listen to something we've done and be like, I have no regrets. That was
I
that was
have no regrets. Like,
yeah,
look,
like
I
that
could
that was it. Oh,
if I
I
just went with a generic like, I'm the Turkey Man, yeah. What if I just did that? I mean, that
right?
probably would have been that would have been also interesting. But the take that I did, I'm just glad that I just decided, you know what? I got one more left in me. Let me
Right?
just knock this out. Take the wheel.
And
Let's
that was
go.
the one. It was
Yeah.
the very last one.
Yeah. Always the last one up notes. I think that's just, I remember hearing a story from Tara Strong. Like, I think she was Raven on Teen Titans because
Yeah.
she did so many different, like, because she was just trying out different stuff, but then she just the the character that came out of Raven was the one that ended up, then the rest was history, It was
Yeah.
just that one last choice. And oh, that brings me somebody else. Okay, so I don't know if you watched Billy and Mandy.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the actor Greg Eagles, I think is his name. Like
Uh-huh.
he plays the Grim Reaper. So because
Right.
everybody was doing like they were just doing like an evil Grim Reaper type of, I forget what accent they were doing, but Greg
Yeah.
came in with a Jamaican accent for him, and he was the last one that actually auditioned for the Reaper.
Oh, no way. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's so many different stories. Like D. Bradley Baker doing like because they wanted a French accent for Klaus the fish on American Dad, and D just did German. Rob Paulson just did a server dude for Mark Chang on Fairly Odd Parents, and everybody just did like I'm gonna eat your brains. But it's just a good example of doing something that's like kind of crazy, kind of silly and weird, and
Yeah.
somehow that ends up becoming the character.
And it's
Those
like
are
you
just great
said,
examples. Yeah.
oh yeah, and it's like you said with like it's it may not be the right choice,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
it's a strong choice, and that tells the director or the casting person that you are willing to play and try new things and it's anyone can do a generic whatever voice, but I think if you can bring a little different flavor to it, that's very exciting.
Yeah. And I know you and I kind of had moments where we're like, okay, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. And you just don't know where it's going to lead you. But
Yeah,
hey, you did the weird thing. So congrats, I suppose.
exactly. I think sometimes, oh, I forget. I was watching an interview with someone. I think it was maybe Laura Bailey. And
We all love Laura.
oh, we love. And she said something about auditioning that was like, something along the lines of when you get an audition, there's all this information about the character that you're given, about like personality type and backstory sometimes, and things like that. And I think our initial instinct is to like follow those guidelines, like that's what they're looking for. So let me do it as close to that as possible. But she said something that I thought was so true and so poignant. And it was basically like, use that as a guideline to an extent. But the most important thing is doing what feels right to you and to the character. And so if that means like, you know, ignoring one of the character traits they listed for the character, try it because you never know. I remember with Bridget's audition, they had a little blurb about her and her character notes and vocal notes that they were looking for, and they really emphasized that they wanted her to sound like kind of sleepy and like I forget the exact word they used in the audition, but basically just sort of like tired and sleepy and maybe slightly low energy and stuff. And I didn't do that at all in my audition. It just didn't feel right. Like I kept trying to do the lines that way, and I was like, I don't know, it's not sounding very exciting. So I kind of made her a little peppier, a little more energetic and cheerful, and I mean that ended up booking it. So even if it's something's written in the directions to do it a certain way, try it a different way just to see if it feels better to you. Because a lot
Yeah,
of times casting people don't even know what they want, until they
exactly.
hear it.
Yeah.
Of course, there are times when it's very specific what they're looking for, but a lot of times, like, they're open to changing things if they find the right actor.
Yeah. Because most of the time, as I just recently stepped into casting, just directing for different project stuff. Like, even sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna open the floodgates and just have somebody surprise me. Just have somebody just do something that I'm just like, oh, that's good. I don't know if it necessarily fits, but let me think about this. I don't know. I'm starting to get idea. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like that's kind of what happened with one project that I did where somebody did a completely different take from what I have for a character, Like they just did something just but still respected. Like that's the thing too. Like you can improv and do this stuff. Make sure that you also respect, the copy that is. You're also just not going completely
Sure.
off the
Yeah, yeah.
rails. Like there's a healthy balance, but I think that's kind of what happened with. Oh yeah, it was when I did this the prologue for my show Solomon Shrine, where
Yeah.
I had these two sisters, and they because I think for the older sister, I think I know where I wanted to go with her, but for the younger one, the actress did something that was just so completely just different that we kind of rewrote some of her personality and dialogue to fit with what she did for the role. And
That's so
it
cool.
happens a lot too, where
It
like you bring something and then they kind of rewrite a bit of a character. I think that's also what happened with like Meg from Family Guy, Meg Griffin, because
Oh.
it was a because I think the original actress ended up having scheduling conflicts, so Mila Kunis was brought in, and history was made,
Yeah.
and then they had to rewrite the character a little bit for Mila, and that's kind of how sometimes you can rewrite characters, and sometimes they might bring something to the role you didn't really think about,
Yeah.
and then the ball just rolls from there.
That's the creative process, man.
Yeah,
That's how it happens. And it's cool when that does happen because so much of the time I think as actors we think of ourselves as like we are just vessels to, to for the writers or whoever to tell us what to do and we do it. But
yeah.
it's cool when there are those reminders where it's like, oh, we also have some contribution and some say in how our characters are portrayed. Which, is enjoyable as an actor. We're not just saying lines, we're creating something.
Yeah. And also you're working on a lot of different projects too. And each of them can have a different because you also gotta do your homework of it's like, okay, so you're doing Spidey and Amazing Friends, who is it directed by, what show, what network is it on, and it's gonna be very different from when you're doing Guilty Gear or Close Enough, No More Heroes, which I still am just absolutely surprised that about the No More Heroes. Like you got to be a part of that.
Crazy. I know.
Yeah. And for Epic, Seven Out, just so many different stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of different flavors that you can bring to each specific role. Like we were just talking about with, expanding your range, where, Dog is not going to be the same character as Bridget, and Bridget is not going to be the same as, No More Heroes or Epic or any of the other projects that
Yeah.
you've done. So
And
that's what makes it a lot of fun. Yeah,
yeah, and understanding genre too is
exactly.
so important, like and like what you were saying before about listening to everything and absorbing as much as you can, you know,
Even demo reels
even demo reels.
and
Yeah, you get
agencies.
some
Yeah.
great ideas from demo reels about different character choices and things like that. But if you're someone who's getting a lot of different auditions for a lot of different genres, commercial, animation, video game, you can't do them all the same. They all have their own um, little toolkit that you need to discover and work on. If I did a commercial audition the way that I record for Spidey, that'd be insane. It would they'd be like, "Is she okay?" That's a lot of energy. So
I mean,
you,
look, there's no such thing as too much energy
yeah, literally.
because they'll just ask you to, just bring it down, which you'd rather have that than just have somebody be like, bring it like at 100. You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh
Exactly.
yeah. That's what directors love to say. They're always like, "We can bring you down, but it's harder to push you back up."
For real. Yeah. I think for singing, because you did musical theater, how has that also been like a major contributor, like a major factor of how, it just really helped you just, with breathing, just,
Oh yeah.
tapping into characters. Oh yeah, because that singing is also like it can be very, very helpful when it comes to, breath control and I mean, I don't know, I'm kind of a nerd of that stuff, vocal, stuff like that. So yeah, I just wanted to know from, from you since you did the the theta, so
The
to speak.
spheres coming
Yeah, the
from the
musical
floor.
theta. I gotta do
Yes.
my thespian. I gotta bring that
The
out every
Judy
time I.
Garland voice. Yes.
Yeah, the Judy Garland. Yes, every time I mention theater, I gotta do that.
You just turn into Judy Garland.
Yes, Judy Garland. Somewhere over the rainbow.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, I'm so grateful that I started out singing because, yeah, it teaches you so much about your voice and treating it like an instrument and how to take care of it. And it's the exact same muscles and tools that you use in voiceover, literally exactly the same. I mean, singing is speaking on pitch to a degree, you know? So it's it's been very helpful going into it because I hear horror stories sometimes of voice actors who didn't learn how to take care of their voice or the proper way to like breathe and stuff and end up getting vocal injuries or losing their voice and stuff and um you know, things like that can still happen, unfortunately. It's, you know, you can still pull a muscle even if you stretch it beforehand. But it definitely eliminates a lot of that scariness if you know that you're using your muscles the right way, your chords the right way. Yeah, I highly recommend anyone who wants to get into voiceover or just public speaking in general, take some singing classes, even if you don't think you're good or you don't want to pursue singing specifically learning about those muscles and the way your voice works, it's really, really valuable information.
Yeah. I really think that it can be really helpful for because I know you did song covers which you could listen on, the website. I'm just saying right now, just awesome
Just
stuff. So,
saying, just
yeah.
throwing it out there.
Yeah, just throwing it out there. So, yeah, like doing covers and all that stuff with because you did start out doing musicals and stuff. Would you say
Yeah,
that it's kind of something that you love to start doing more in the future?
I don't know. I think, I mean, I do still love it and I
Mhm.
appreciate it. And I have a lot of friends who are still doing the theater life and stuff. So I'm hearing about all their goings-ons and it's exciting. And I just think I'm so out of practice. So I think there's a little bit of that fear and self-consciousness that creeps in a little where I'm like, "Ooh, but I'm not as good as I used to be or I'm not as, whatever. That's on me. That's something that I can easily fix with practice, but I don't know. I occasionally get to use my singing in voiceover auditions every now and then, usually for like a kid show or something like that. They want the actors to be able to sing, so they'll ask for a little song snippet at the end of the audition. So it's still in my life, just in a smaller way. I don't know if I'd want to do it on a professional level, at least. Um, Not anytime soon. I feel like I'd need to get back into musical theater shape before that happened because it really is, it's hard. It's really hard to maintain that.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I kind of like to do this thing where I put actors on the spot, but is there any song snippet that you want to, sing right now?
Oh gosh, just from like from anything?
Just anything, really.
My gosh. Um it's like, when someone asks you to like what's your favorite song and then you can't remember a single song you've ever listened to in your life. It's literally that. It's like I don't know any songs. Um no, I got nothing. I got nothing. I can't think of any lyric that I've ever sung ever.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. I mean, thank goodness I'm on the website, so
Yeah, give me something. Give me something.
yeah, I don't know,
Help me
like
out here.
driver's little requirement, one of the three that you have on here so far.
Oh yeah, there's Driver's License, which is an Olivia Rodrigo song that went viral like so many thousand years ago. I got my driver's license last week, just like we always talked about. It's such a good like acting song because it tells such a good story. It's very musical theatery.
Oh yeah, it really is. You want to know what type of songs I like to listen to, or just the positive, like, the encouragement songs, like the stand alive, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
like
stuff
anything
like
that
that.
just gets you hype. I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. This one song that I've been listening to nonstop, it's like, I think that probably is the one, just stand alive, and I know there's another one I was thinking about, but it
I
just
know, right?
completely vanished. I'll I'll definitely remember it. Oh yeah, I think it's My Way from Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did it my way.
My
Yeah,
Way. I
such a
did
good
it my
song.
way. Yeah. So, you got to thank Seth MacFarlane for that one.
Oh yeah.
Because I think he was in I forget what movie it was. I think it was this little mouse and he was singing the song. Sing. That's
Sing. Yeah,
literally
yeah,
the
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah. So every time I think
Such a
about it, I think
beautiful
of it.
voice. Seth
I mean,
MacFarlane.
yeah, like that old 50s, 40s and 50s swooning type of,
Oh,
that I kind of envy and I wish I had, but
yeah.
I mean, hey, like Seth is doing what I'm honestly surprised he has not done a musical. Like we're just on the
I
subject
am
of musicals.
too. Like,
Yeah.
hello, Broadway. Like,
Dude, you do all these sitcoms and you do these comedies, which, just good on you, but like do a Broadway musical, you collaborate with so many people. Come on, man.
I know
It's right
that
there.
surprises me too. He's like perfect for it.
Yeah, and I'm like, look, if the creators of South Park they did musicals, Book of Mormon, like, come on, Seth.
Exactly.
It's not impossible. I'm just
It's
saying, my
not.
dude. Yeah. And he actually did get coaching from Frank's singing coach.
No
So that
way.
explains a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I found out about that like a year or so ago, and I'm like, well, dang, that kind of explains a lot.
It really does. He could do a voice match for Frank Sinatra for sure.
He kind of did.
He
Probably on
kind of
Family Guy
does.
or another show. He already does voice matches for a lot of different celebrities, so I'm
Good
not
for
really
him.
surprised. Yeah, yeah, really good for him. Yeah. I'm just not just saying that because like, yeah, good for him. I'm so jealous. But like, no, I genuinely am like, yeah, just
Yeah.
hats off,
Kill
man.
it. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
killing it.
he's got the
And
skills
he's
for
doing
sure.
other stuff too, outside of just being pigeonholed, just like the Family Guy dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he's had quite a good career.
Yeah. Started out at Hanna-Barbera and now like primetime television. Like, let's go.
I know. The dream.
Yeah, just you never know. It doesn't matter where you start. Like as long as your heart is set on it, like you never know where it's gonna lead you to.
Exactly.
Yeah, like there's so many because he also worked with Butch Hartman and a lot of these people like way back in the day, and yeah,
Yeah.
just seeing a lot of these guys just really make a lot of these shows and just really following their dreams just feels so inspiring to me.
It really does. Yeah. And you never know what something's going to turn into. It could
Exactly,
start out as a fun little project, but then it could just take off in a way you weren't expecting, or
exactly.
that's the
I mean,
cool part.
that's kind of it just really brings to mind like a lot of these indie animation projects that are just
Yeah,
like I'm telling you
I know. It's
like
crazy.
I think it's gonna be almost 2 years since the digital circus show. Like it's now on Netflix, which is kind of crazy to me. Like I still cannot believe it.
Really?
Yeah, like it started off because it was a pilot and that just kind of really exploded. And some of the guests that I've had on my podcast just this was like all before, circus was even
Yeah.
really I don't know how long the production was on that was, but I know it was definitely before Circus just really took off. And now, seeing folks like Lizzie Freeman, Amanda Hufford, Marissa Landy,
Yeah.
Sean Chiplock, Michael Kovac, and all these guys, just wow, man.
And like
Alan, it
Has
just,
Been Hotel started out as a little
yeah,
indie project and now it's on, what is it, Amazon or whatever?
yeah, it's on Amazon Prime, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, there's so much
yeah,
passion and hard work
and
that goes into
it's,
things like
man,
that. When people reap the rewards of it and the success, I love to see that.
but it's also even crazier when you've worked with some of these people. Like I'm working with Sean on Solomon, which I can
Yeah.
talk about that now, which I mean, I still cannot believe it, man. Like I remember the casting process was it was fun, but it was also like, oh, it's my own project, my character. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got to make the tough decision.
Yeah.
I got to
I
be the dad and just be really picky and
That's the
now I'm
job
feeling the
though. You
pain. Yeah.
gotta.
But yeah, just seeing all of these guys and actually knowing them, like working alongside them, even before Circus, and knowing them as friends, and now they're just blowing up like crazy, and it's just kind of like, man, wow.
I know.
It's
So
just really, it's just so fun just seeing your friends just, really go out there in a big way. It really
it is
does.
really cool. I know, especially when you, yeah, know them on a personal level and know how hard they
Exactly.
work and all
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
love to see when people's hard work pays off.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's kind of like something that I wanted to ask you, like with all the stuff that you've done, just if we were to end this off on a bit of a, we're still ending this off on a positive note, like what would you say was just going down this journey, like with acting and anything? If there's, would you say that, how would you want to leave behind? Like if something were to happen, like God forbid not, let's see. How would you want to, where would you want to leave your legacy in a way? I know it's kind of a big question, but that's something that I'm kind of,
That is a big
curious about.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I mean, one of the best pieces of feedback I ever got as an actor was with my Bridget audition when I came in for the first session. Of course, all the creatives and directors and stuff were present at the session, and the casting director was like, we were meeting for the first time, and he was like, "Thanks for being here. I loved your audition. I smiled the whole time I was listening to it." And that was such a like small comment that he made about it and such a like vague comment too, but it meant so much to me because that's what games and cartoons and stuff did for me when I was watching them. They made me happy. They made me excited. They made me laugh. They made me, they made me happy even in times when maybe I wasn't feeling very happy. So I think I would just want to leave behind a legacy and leave behind characters that even years from now, maybe, hopefully, bring people joy and put a smile on their face, maybe when they weren't really feeling that happy.
Yeah. And what would you want to close out this interview with? Just any last bit of advice that you have in mind?
Yeah, for advice for anyone who's maybe wanting to try voice acting or get into voice acting, I mean, just do it. Just watch things, mimic things, watch clips of your favorite actors and just repeat what they do and just anything you can do to keep yourself practicing and talking and trying new things and playing with new ideas. Just do it. And it can be hard, it can be frustrating at times, it can feel like no one's really listening to the things you're putting out there in the world, but don't get discouraged. It is a long game. So if you're patient and you just really find the love in it and any opportunity, regardless of whether you book the actual thing or not, any opportunity should be fun and should be an enjoyable experience for you. Otherwise, you will get a little tired and burnt out. So just learn to find the joy and the fun in doing what you're doing.
Yeah. And just a really quick shout out on the topic of conventions. Shout out to Crystal Kitsune. Just love you. Yeah, really awesome. So I just wanted to shout out that interview you did with
For sure,
Crystal.
I agree with that. She's the one who invited me to come to Annie Fest for 2 years, and um, that was so special, especially because it was like my first convention experience. So she's awesome. Go check her out. She's so cool. She does an
Yeah.
awesome Bridget cosplay too.
Oh, I think I've seen it. It
Yeah.
just it was killer, man. Yeah, so social media, like website, just anything that you want to share and plug,
Sure,
feel
yeah.
free. Yeah.
On social media, I have a Twitter and I have an Instagram. Both of them are just Kelly Ohanian VO, so my name and then VO afterwards. And if you want to hear some of my work that's going on right now, like I said at the beginning, Spidey has been renewed for 2 more seasons, and I'm pretty sure the most recent season that has been aired started a little bit ago. So you can catch some new episodes every Friday, I believe. Um, yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. And for the outro, because we also did this last time, but you can say your name and characters you've done, or and if for bonus for just a little bit of added fun, if you want to also sing or maybe do character voices in their Station Square podcast with Robert Jackson, that would be pretty dope. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's Kelly Ohanian tuning in for the Station Square podcast. I'm known for the voice as Doc Ock on Spidey and His Amazing Friends on Disney Junior, Bridget in Guilty Gear Strive, and Flan in Epic 7, Ruth in Alone in the Dark, and Mint in Arknights. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Alrighty. And as for me, I don't really have anything else to say, but yeah, thank you for watching the podcast and stick around for more episodes coming soonish. I have a large backlog, so I don't even know when this will be up. So, yeah, but yeah, see me at LA Comic Con for my birthday coming up next month. Yeah, just that's the big thing that I got coming up. Oh, and also, play for your life because you might see more episodes of my series Element Shrine coming soon. So, who knows? And who knows if you'll probably hear some familiar voices in there? We'll see. Yes. Oh
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, let's see. So I'm just as a little tease of some sort. So yeah, thank you so much for watching once again. Stick around next time. God loves you. God bless. And yeah, hearts. I don't know.
Yeah,
Assume you
whatever
do
this
that.
is, whatever the kids are doing.
Yeah, whatever all these
Where
kids
are
are
those
doing now.
whippersnappers?
Yeah, those whippersnappers. Anyways, take care, y'all. Bye. Love you.